All right, hello and welcome to the Philippines. We're here at JRC Visa Consultancy again, and we're going to be covering several topics. We're going to be starting with some basics because there's a lot of new guys. There's some wrong information out there, and we're going to cover some basics with immigration, some basics with real estate, and some basics with business consulting, and may or may not put this all in one video, depends on how long it gets. But JR here is the owner of these companies, and we're gonna start with immigration. JR, thank you for being here today.
Hi Rod, and hi to your subscribers. It's been my pleasure again to see you healthy, and at the same time in good shape. And it's been a while since we have talked about your some things about immigrations and other stuff that will be truly discussed here in the Philippines.
All right. I get, as you know, I get many comments every day, and I spend a couple hours every day answering comments. And there are guys that have been around forever. They're on all the different forums. They're on all the different sites. They're on the immigration site. And they're keeping up with it probably better than I am. But there are many others that are getting different information, wrong information sometimes, no information at all. So anyway, let's start with immigration basics. Now, most of us came to the Philippines on a tourist visa.
Okay.
Most countries in the world, they just fly to the Philippines. Go to customs, and unless there's a major issue, they give them a 30-day stamp for free. They've got 30 days. After 30 days, they can go to an immigration office and extend that for 28 days, 29 days, something like that. But those free visas stopped, over a year ago, and they haven't started back up. Is there any word? And people ask me this every week. Is there any word? Do you know? Do you know when they're going to start allowing tourists in again?
It gives me goosebumps right now. Based on the immigration updates as of today, that would be August 12th in the afternoon, Philippine time, around 2 o'clock. So there is still restrictions in place. The visa privilege, which was brought up by the EO 408, those are the nationalities which will be given a 30 days visa upon arrival here in the Philippines before COVID. That is under the scope of the EO 408. Good example for that would be the US, UK, and some other countries which has a good diplomatic relationship and reciprocity agreements with the Philippines. So it is not being demolished or being scrapped, but there is just like the restrictions right now to prevent or to control people right now to go into the Philippines, which is actually affecting the tourist visa holders or the EO 408 foreign nationals coming on the country. So I would like to make that clear that it is not being scrapped, but it is being just restricted right now because of this COVID situation. So that is the mere context about that, because there are a lot of people, like especially when there's a rumor, like I think a week or 2 weeks ago, that there's an information that was circulating on the internet regarding the Bureau of Immigration Modernization Act, which was being circulated because of these certain changes of the Bureau of Immigration Modernization Act of 2020. So just like not to hype, but to give you a tip information about that, I have gone over the bill which was already passed in Congress. After that, it will be reviewed in the Senate. Then after reviewed by the Senate and approved, then it will be passed on to the President to become officially a law. So that will take some time. But normally on the context, if you would need the copy of the bill, I think Rod and I will be giving you a copy just for you to clarify. But there is no mention there that the visa upon arrival is erased or changed as of the moment. What is the main context of that bill is they are reclassifying the visa classification, because our Philippine Immigration Act was promulgated way back 1940s. So we are now in the 20th century, like we are already in 2021. So it needs to be updated, like the penalties of a foreign national committing this violation is no longer applicable. Like 1 peso before, or $1 before, is not really substantial in terms of amount now. So that is one of the context of that Modernization Act. And also they're also trying to put in an enhancement of the salary grades of the immigration personnel, which is basically also needed to give them their morale, or to let the government to let them feel that the government is really supporting them, because they have a bigger role to play. So those are the major highlights of that House bill, which is already passed as of now, Rod.
Okay. Could you touch on that modernization, the new classifications? How will that affect any of us?
In terms of, like, for example, the non-immigrant, the 9 series, or what we call the tourist visa, it was then classified into 3 subcategories, namely the pleasure, the business, and the health visa, if I recall it right. But that is the context.
I think that's correct.
Way back, it was already identified before, but it was not thoroughly identified right now. But it's still in the context that is still a tourist visa being classified into those categories. So once this law or bill will be passed for this Modernization Act, then there would be they will be promulgating now, or making the what do you call that, implementing rules and regulation out of the approved bill, which is already signed by the president. So in context, it would take time.
In reality, today we can't say what it's going to be
Exactly.
a month from now or 6 months from now, because it's going through a process.
Yes.
So they're going to add amendments, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. So we can just hope for the best.
Yeah. Plus, also, elections are coming. The national elections are coming next year, way back May, and there will be a change in Congress, sets of politicians sitting on those seats.
Right.
So expect that there will be, like, if that does not form on their priority list, so that might be the reason for the delay. So those things, your subscribers right now, or future subscribers, should know that it will not be immediate. It will take time.
Right.
But nothing to worry about as of this time, because there's no mention that they're scrapping away the visa upon arrival, or the tourist visa, or what we call the EO408. You can actually validate that in the internet. It's a list of countries that is not required for visa upon entry here in the Philippines. Just like before, if you're a US citizen, book a flight, go to the US, arrive in the immigration airports, or airports, and go through immigration in the Philippines, then you're given a 30-day tourist visa. So nothing to worry about as of this time. Don't panic, guys. Restrictions are in place because of COVID.
Right. Okay. The other, I think the other comments that I get primarily relate to marriage visas. My fiance, my fiance, we're separated, and or we haven't gotten married, but we're on different islands. We can't travel. We can't get married. We're going to get married. We haven't got our marriage visa. All of those different stories. And or I'm married, but I'm in a different country, and I can't come back to see her because we have to travel together. I'm guessing that you get a lot of those requests.
We do.
A big part of it, and each one is a little bit different. You have to deal with each one a little differently.
Exactly. So one of the things that your subscribers should know is there's what we call the balikbayan visa. Okay, let us put this clear. Back to basic. A balikbayan visa is given to a foreigner who is traveling with his Filipino spouse or Filipino child. If you're not traveling with your Filipino child or Filipino spouse, you will not be given the balikbayan visa. Balikbayan visa is a little bit of what we, in a layman's term, that is actually an upgraded version of the tourist visa. That does not give you any privileges yet, but you're just categorized based on that privilege. Now, the tourist visa, if you're traveling alone, then you will be given a tourist visa. Now, if on that scenario, we have encountered inquiries right now, like they're still in the US, they wanting to go here, and our first question is, are you married? Because if you're married, you can get inside the country right now by applying for the 9A tourist visa to comply with the restriction. Now, when you say you're married, it's just like, it does not connote that you're living together, that you're married. No, you have to put that on paper. So what do we call a marriage certificate should be provided, not only a marriage certificate, but a registered marriage certificate by the civil registry here in the Philippines, and a PSA copy of the marriage certificate. So that is more or less the yellow copy, the authenticated one. So it goes from one office after you got married and to another office. So that is the thing that you need to understand. Now, on the other side as well, you need also to factor in, like I have encountered also, hey JR, I have a son or daughter in the Philippines. That my next question is, are you duly registered or recognized on the birth certificate? If you're not, then you're not being recognized yet as a father. You need to do paperwork for that. But the thing is, it would be very difficult for you to do the paperwork if you're still outside the country.
You can't do it to a consulate very easily.
No.
Okay.
Or it would be difficult for you to do that because there are legal restrictions on that, or legal procedures that needs to be done. So in context, going back again, I know your subscribers have been aware of this information. You can still go to the Philippines on tourist visa with special exemption. If you say to the consulate office that, hey, I'm a foreign spouse of a Filipino citizen, or I'm a foreign father of a Filipino child, and you present the birth certificate, the PSA copy of the birth certificate, and a PSA copy of the marriage certificate, then you're good to go. But guys, this is also what I want to I need you to be patient right now, because the Philippine Embassy are being in place to those areas, but not really necessary that will be near to you. Sometimes it will be a day trip from another county or another state going to the state. Just be patient. I know we need also to recognize that they also have restrictions. Probably one of the consulate officer is contracted with COVID, and that disrupts their operations. I know you are much willing or eager right now to go to the Philippines, even if you have that particular exemption and privilege. But the thing is, we need also to understand what is the current situation. Probably Philippines and the US cannot be compared, because you're comparing an apple into an orange.
I have heard over the months, I've heard a number of foreigners, different countries, say, I understand this is the policy, but I went to the consulate in Belgium or Britain or wherever, or US, and they told me, no, that's not. We're not going to allow that. We're not going to authorize you to move, even though you say and you have a copy of something that says you can. So each office has some discretion, apparently, in whatever's going on in that office, like you say. And I know the same thing here. The individual immigration offices, some will allow you in with shorts and sandals. Some say, no, go home and get dressed properly.
That's true.
They have different rules, different places. They have different forms. You print the form out online. You say, yeah, this is the form. No, we use this one. Right, so.
So in regards to that, also comment from your subscriber, yes, it's basically true, but let's be proactive in doing that. Probably what you can do is you may inquire to someone that you find like they know on what they're doing. Probably you can send a message to Ron to keep him more busy. Or you can send an email to us, and we'll get in touch with you the soonest that we can. What you can do, if the consulate right now will not allow you to travel, even if you have your exemptions, probably it would help to print out the immigration advisory, because the immigration office and the Department of Foreign Affairs, which is handling the embassies, the Philippine embassies, are two different offices. So it might be like, okay, let's be proactive about that. I know there's restrictions. I'm just speaking in behalf of the processes here in the Philippines. I have not been in the US, but I have been to several few countries. But more or less, I just want you to understand, your subscribers, Rod, how the processes being done here in the Philippines.
There are a couple of other visas that will allow you to travel in, right? And some of those, I know that there are a number of people who they've got resorts, they've got hotels, they've got different businesses here. They've got a farm with their wife, and they want to travel. They should be able to travel on that type of visa. Am I right or wrong?
Based on the Philippine Immigration Act, there are a lot of visas available that a foreign national can avail. When once they can apply for that and they're already the visa holder for that, like for example, if a foreign national and a Filipino wife wanted to run a corporation, and probably one of the options is a 13A spousal visa. If not, they can also apply for 9G working visa, if it's still allowed by the Labor Department, because that is something also that we need to deal with. So far, what is only restricted right now to go back to the country is only the tourist visa. It's the purely a foreign traveler who is on tourist visa with no exemptions.
Okay.
But as far as I know, based on our experience, because we have already people coming from Australia or from the US coming inside the Philippines, and they have appropriate visa. To name a few, they have retirement visa, they have spousal visa, they have 9G working visa, and then they were able to come in.
Okay.
Based on the advisory of the immigration way back months
Yeah.
ago.
Did they need any other special? Did they have to get a letter from the consulate in their country in order to proceed, or could they just buy a ticket, an airline ticket, and show up here?
Okay. That's one good question, Rod, because I think few weeks back there are visas that are actually like a tourist visa with special exemption. There is a requirement from the Bureau of Immigration for them to get an entry exemption certificate,
Right.
which was lifted.
Yeah.
That's good news,
Yeah.
because it will make processes simpler right now. But right now, what they can do for that to verify is they can actually contact their airline, and their airline will give them sets of requirements.
Okay.
If there would be requirements that are really not justifiable, then you can actually ask your airline, okay, hey, I have this visa, why is it that you're requiring me this? And this is the advisory from the Bureau of Immigration. Might as well, can we validate? Because right now, for all the confusion that we have, for the stresses that we have from the COVID situation, it would be more efficient right now, or we're telling people to hear our story. And once we hear our story, we say it verbally, and it should be backed up with some documents. Then they began to talk, hey, this person really knows what he's doing, and they began to ask themselves now.
Yeah. Well, the other problem is, I know they're limiting the number of passengers coming in each day. Many of those passengers are going to be OFWs, returning overseas Filipino workers. So there's only a limited number of seats available. And I've got a friend, a subscriber, I think. He was trying to get here. His wife worked for the airline, I think, and he was trying to get one of those seats that you get when you have relatives that work for the airline. And they got like halfway over here, and they said no seats available. So they had to go back to Hawaii, I think, and sit and buy an actual ticket. So yeah, there can be all sorts of contortions of somebody has to go
along the
along the way.
But I need your subscribers to be aware of that. That is beyond the control already of the immigration side. That is more or less on the control already of the airline. Probably, come on, airline is a business. So if the trip would not be viable for them to make money, at least, then they can actually
That's
change
what
it.
I had somebody telling me, tell me about this, tell me about all this and this. I said, it changes.
It changes.
Every week.
That's true.
I'm not gonna put out a statement saying this is what it is, because it'll be, by the time I put the video up, it'll be changed.
That's true. And they will get back to you.
Yeah. Anyway, you, JR, here, you're getting ready to open up 4 offices. You've got an office here in Cebu City, near Ayala. You've got a second office not very far from here. You've got an office in Dumaguete,
That's
right
true.
next to Immigration. And you've got an office in Moalboal. And you're getting ready. You're in the process of opening up at J Center Mall, which is where the main immigration office is here in Mandaue City, Cebu
true.
City area.
That's true.
So congratulations on your growth there. But all of these people we're talking about, they can contact you. You've got people in your different departments to discuss your particular situation, and you might be able to help. You know, I've said this before, I'm the type of person, I like to do things myself. You know, I think I can do it. The experience is good for me. But what I found is a lot of foreigners, they get frustrated, they start arguing with the immigration guys.
That's not a good situation.
That's not a good thing right away.
because a mere disrespect of an immigration
disrespect.
immigration officer is a grounds for deportation and
and I know
blacklisting.
I know several really nice guys that have gotten into it verbal, and because of that, whatever they needed done, it was delayed. I'm sure it was delayed because they were obstinate. You know? But anyway, you know the language, you know the system. You do it over and over. They know your face. They see you on a regular basis. You and your crew here. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. You get 99.999% good reports.
Thank you.
From all the people that I've known you a little over 2 years now. All the people that have come in and used you. So we appreciate what you do. And for all you guys, wherever you're at in the world, I recommend you contact him, discuss your situation with JR and his crew, and see if they can help you. There might be an easier way. There might be a way for you to get things done that you need done. So, anyway,
that's what I have.
Anything else you want to say?
Yeah. Thank you for that, Rod. I deeply appreciate your compliments with the crew. I always reminded the crew every time that we are in the Philippines, and our culture when we grow up is based on our Filipino culture, but we really need to understand the culture of the Westerners. We might not what do you call that? I have something in mind, but we might not understand it fully 100%. But what we're trying to tell them, okay, we are here to solve their problems. But before we can solve your problems, we need to know how you think. We need to know what are your needs, and from there we will draw up options, and we will not be deciding for you. One thing that I learned when I do this, when I started this visa consultancy, apart from being a licensed real estate broker and appraiser, is let's just get it straight. Here in the Philippines, we have different way of doing things. But as what I have, my reminder always to the team and to the crew is we are here to solve their problems. Give them options, let them choose, and we will take it from there. So basically, our mission is to help you. We may not please everybody, but rest assured, we're putting up our best foot forward to help each one of you to be guided properly on your visa and immigration needs. That's it, plain and simple. Talk to us if you need something else. It does not necessarily mean that we'll be engaging right away, but you send us an email.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
Okay.